Welcome everyone to the show once again. I'm Dr. Ava. I am an internal medicine hospitalist, and what I'm really passionate about is increasing diversity in the medical field. That's why I wrote a book called Paging Dr. You, specifically for those who are interested in pursuing a medical career. It's available on Amazon. I'm the owner of Dr. Eva B Coaching, and I coach future medical students. I am hosting season 5 of Health Moments with Dr. Ava for the Hope TV. When it comes to your health, it's extremely important that you get your info from a source that you can trust and that is also very reliable. Health Moments with Dr. Ava is about empowerment, empowering you to take charge of your health and your well-being. It's meant to be fun and at the same time informative. During the show, though, you will hear me give general medical information, never any specific ones. So, as always, I recommend that you seek the advice of your own personal doctor. Today's show is about breaking stereotypes. Now more than ever, women are dreaming that possible dream. Women, especially those pursuing careers in traditionally male dominated professions, are often the targets of gender infused stereotypes. Of course, women and men have historically served different functions in society, and many professions were until very recently reserved for men only. That is especially true in the medical profession. As such, even as these roles have begun to evolve, the way women are observed and expected to behave at work has not followed suit. Women struggle daily in battling these stereotypes. I'm going to give you a few examples. You might hear them say, she's pushy, but then they'll say, he's persuasive. Or she's bossy, but he's a leader. She's a self promoter. Or, I don't know, he knows his own self worth. She's abrasive, but he's incisive. She's selfish, but he's too busy to pitch in. She's aggressive or she's hostile, but he's a go getter. Or she's rude, but he's direct and to the point. You might even hear them say women do not possess the required skill that men inherently possess for certain professions or job titles, or that women do not take their career or jobs as seriously as men and thus are not as dedicated to the work, or that women are primarily responsible for their kids and hence will take more breaks from work and inevitably put in less hours as compared to men. Stereotypes are some of the hardest aspects of sexism to shake, but it's important for us to be aware of how we stereotype others and to be aware of the biases that we have so that we can actively work against them. I want to introduce my guest today. She is fierce. You hear me? Fierce. She broke all the stereotypes and all the barriers and made it to the top of the mountain. Her name is Dr. Sybil Val. Dr. Val is a board certified plastic and reconstructive surgeon, a fellow of the American College of Surgeons, and has extensive training in plastic and reconstructive surgery techniques. She earned her bachelor's degree in biology from Adelphi University in Garden City, New York. It was there that she discovered her passion for helping and teaching others. Upon completion of her bachelor's degree, she attended medical school at Wright State University in Dayton, Ohio. Subsequent to medical school, she completed a vigorous general surgery residency program at SUNY Downstate in Brooklyn, New York. She then ventured south, completing 3 years of plastic surgery and reconstructive surgery training program at LSU in New Orleans, Louisiana. While at LSU, she underwent intense microsurgical training in both trauma and breast reconstruction at numerous hospitals, including University Hospital, which was formerly known as Charity Hospital. Her interest in breast reconstruction led to numerous presentations at national and international meetings, as well as performance of more than 200 microvascular breast and trauma reconstructions. Her interest in cosmetic surgery and fat grafting in particular led to her participating in research projects on fat grafting, as well as presentations on the topic at national meetings. As a surgeon, Dr. Val appreciates and understands the need for non-surgical options. Thus, she also enjoys helping her patients reach their goals non-surgically, if at all possible. She believes in providing all of her patients with a detailed and thorough evaluation where questions are not only encouraged, but also expected. She's been known to quiz every single one of her patients at the end of a consultation just to make sure they fully understand their condition and surgical options. Dr. Val's commitment to providing comprehensive quality care in a warm and caring environment is unparalleled. Whether it's a personal phone call before or after surgery or a handwritten note, she believes in personally connecting to her patients and walking with them every single step of the way. Outside of her practice, she enjoys spending time with her husband and her two children, Sydney and Celius. Welcome to the show, Dr. Val. Thank you for being here with us today. How are you?
I am great. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you.
I'm so happy you're here. So, I have a question for you. Who were your role models growing up?
Oh gosh. So in terms of becoming a physician, I really didn't have any. I didn't have anyone who had really charted the path and really showed me the way. A lot of who and what I am is what I've created in my mind. Now, I
Mm.
did have role models in terms of how I wanted to be as a woman, how I wanted to be as a mom, and how I wanted to be as a professional. And that actually came from my mother's employers. I'm sorry. So my mother was a housekeeper, and she worked for two PhDs, and they were the first example of an American family that I had the opportunity to observe and really see up close and personal. For a short period of time, we actually lived with the family that my mom worked for. It was my first time seeing, a dad in real life since my mom was a single mom. It was my first time seeing interactions between a husband and a wife, between, parents and their children. And I knew right away that the home that, we went to eventually when we moved out was not the home that I wanted to create. I wanted to create a home that was similar to theirs, and I wanted to expand on it. And I knew that very early on in life.
Wow. Okay. Were they African American?
They were not.
Okay. Okay. I was
And
just
it's so
asking.
funny because like I kind of almost sometimes feel bad for my husband because the family, they were white Caucasian. They celebrated both Christmas and Hanukkah, so they were Christians and Jews. And I always tell myself that the ideal dad to me was Dr. Bernard Horowitz, who was a PhD, as I mentioned, and his wife was also a PhD, Dr. Marilyn Horowitz. And then the other dad that I knew of was Bill Cosby as Dr. Huxtable. That was it.
Wow. Wow. So you would definitely say that seeing them in real life, you were able to talk to them and touch them and see that they lived that life. And that's what really inspired you.
Correct. They were very encouraging. And interestingly, I grew up in a situation where race wasn't emphasized. And I think that really played a role in the way that I see life and even the way that I function now. It was very important for them. They treated all the children the same. I grew up with their children as if they were my brothers and sisters during certain periods of my life. We went to the same high school, and there was an understanding that we had different lives. Obviously, they lived where they lived, I lived where I lived, but they really caused all of us to pursue education. And the same things they said to their kids, they said to me. And I really do think it affected me long term. I'm forever grateful for them.
Do you still keep in touch with them?
I do. I do. The children are all in California. Last year when I went
Okay.
to California, we had an opportunity to meet up, and the parents are in Florida. And yes, we do keep in touch.
And are the kids as successful as you are?
Yeah, we're all
Because I
successful.
okay.
Lawyers, we're all
Oh,
successful.
good. Okay, that's
Uh-huh.
amazing.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Is love transactional?
What is it? It's so good when you loving somebody and somebody loves you back. You know, you want that and somebody loves you back part.
What is love?
I feel like we just opened up the miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
So let me ask you this. What inspired you to start your own practice?
So I trained in general surgery, and as a female in general surgery, I really realized that medicine has a lot of challenges. When I went down to New Orleans to do my plastic surgery training, I really wanted to come out stronger and better and really understand who and what I could be in medicine. And I realized that medical school doesn't really teach us the business of medicine. Fortunately, plastic surgery does. You know, it doesn't teach you the intricate details of business, but you understand CPTs, you understand, coding. And because plastic surgery had become a 3-year program instead of a 2-year program the year that I started, I actually had an additional year. And I decided with that year, I was going to kind of biopsy the different practices that I rotated through to see what they look like, to learn how they run. I wanted to know everything from how the phone rang, who answered it, who did the pre-cert process, what cases caused you to generate more money, what cases cause you to lose money. So I really took time to that during my last year. And even though I understood it, I really had a deep interest in academic surgery and I wanted to be in academia. But because I was a Black woman, because plastic surgery does not have a lot of Black women, I was really discouraged when, I wasn't met with the level of enthusiasm that I thought I should have been met with. And I watched as that level of enthusiasm was extended towards, the white men, the younger fellows. And I just realized, well, I have to figure out, what my path is going to be on my own. These folks weren't going to help me, but I wasn't new to that. I was always creating my own path. So I was employed for a year and I knew right away that the only way for me to truly have the practice and the life that I wanted was for me to be in the driver's seat, for me to be the creator, for me to be, directing the moves. So it just actually completely makes sense for me to be an entrepreneur in private practice.
I agree. Because I was going to ask you, like, what does it take to be a woman in a historically male-dominated field? Because it is a male-dominated field, and it's so
It absolutely
few.
is.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. It's truly male dominated. It's truly, you can become very discouraged as a woman in surgery, especially if you don't know yourself. So I really tell women who are thinking about surgery, just really take the time to know who you are, what you want, and to really create the life that you want. There aren't a lot of people who can really guide you because there aren't that many people who have lived your life. Even though I advise women all the time, I tell them what I'm going to tell you might be for you because your life is different from mine. But I can tell you this, if I can get here, anyone can do it. It just really requires determination and planning, but anyone can do this. It's completely doable. It should be done by everyone. Unfortunately, a lot of people aren't going to do it because of circumstance, because of fear, because they haven't seen it done before, so they don't believe that they can do it. But anything is possible if you believe it.
I agree. From your perspective, how do you think the industry evolved or progressed since starting your career, if it has?
I wish I could say that there's been a ton of progression, but realistically, there hasn't been. Has there been some? Absolutely. There are far more women in surgery and in leadership positions in plastic surgery than there's ever been. It was really inspiring when I went to the plastic surgery meeting last month to see so many more women on the panel giving talks. For a long time, they've all been manels because there's been a whole bunch of men on these panels. So we've, dubbed them as manels. And it's really nice to see more and more women. But interestingly, there's a huge lag when it comes to diversity, and especially Black faces. Interestingly, sometimes when people talk about minority in medicine, they'll talk to you about having an Asian physician, having an Indian physician, but a lot of times they still don't have Black doctors.
Yep.
And I think that is so interesting that,
Yeah, we're rare. We're
it's,
rare.
I know, we're truly rare.
Very, very rare. I mean, 2.5% for women, 5% if you add the men and the women. I mean, come on, you spread that out all over the US, it's almost nothing. And
It
so,
is. You're absolutely right.
yeah,
You're absolutely
yeah.
right. In some states, there's literally one Black plastic surgeon. It just so happens that we're here in Georgia, in Atlanta, and I think a lot of Black people who are in medicine have an affinity towards a city like Atlanta because we've always known Atlanta as a place for Black professionals and where Black
Mhm.
professionals are welcomed, where Black professionals are high in number. So it's actually extremely rare to see a lot of Black professionals and Black physicians, Black lawyers, in this many of them in one city. You'll go to places like New Mexico, you'll go to places, you'll be surprised, even places like Texas, there just aren't that many Black professional women who are surgeons or attorneys, and there really should be. When we think about big cities like New York, for instance, and you think about the hundreds and thousands of professional white men that you can find, it should actually be, astonishing that you can't find the same number of professional Black women.
I agree. And it's kind of sad to me. But that's why we're doing things like
Mhm.
this because we want to show
That's right.
people if we can do it, so can they. Representation matters, right? So,
Absolutely.
and I that brings me to my next question. Why do you think it's particularly important to have more female representation?
Female representation is so important because female equals community. If you really want to change communities, you really want to change conversation and dynamics, you need more women. There's just no other way to put it. The women bring so much more to the table. And one of the things that I want women to understand and realize is that you are so necessary. So
Yeah.
sometimes instead of waiting for the opportunity to present itself, you have to create the opportunity and let people know that they actually need your voice. So that means getting out of your comfort zone, not waiting for an opportunity to be created, but for you to actually create these opportunities, which is something that I think I've done a lot, throughout my life. And I really encourage other people to do it. Do not wait. Your voice is so important. And the sooner you get your voice heard, the more you can do.
It's all about mindset, I think. Because if you know
Oh,
deep down inside,
absolutely.
you're meant to be here, you belong here, your voice matters, this is what you want to do, nobody's going to tell you nothing about it.
That's
You
right.
push through and it will happen for you because deep down inside
That's
you
right.
believe it. And then you have that faith and you already see yourself in that position. No one can stop you. So
I
mindset
want to
is
make a comment. I want to comment about, deep down inside, you can do it. I think that's the biggest problem. And when I was a little girl and I told everyone I was going to be a doctor, I actually told them I was going to be a dancing doctor. Deep down inside, I knew I could do it. I never for 1 second thought, it's not possible. I knew I could do it. And
Mhm.
there were times when I lost a little bit of confidence in myself, but there were very short periods of time. And there was always someone there in the background to be the wind beneath my wing. Being the
Yeah,
wind beneath the wing, though, only matters if you know you have wings. If someone is
that's true.
telling you you can do it, you can fly. If someone is telling you you can do great things, but deep down inside you don't believe that you can, it's not going to happen. And I remember when I was in college, my college professor, Dr. Sung Moon, who recently passed away, rest in peace, he saw me when I was, 18, 19, and he really saw something special in me. And he told me that I really could do anything I put my mind to. And he became that wind beneath my wing. And after that conversation and that summer that I spent with him doing organic chemistry, I knew everything that I wanted, everything that I dreamed of, everything I was creating in my mind. I knew it was all possible. I just knew it was a matter of time.
Yeah, that's so important. That's so key. That's why it starts with the little ones. Building that
Hmm.
confidence, showing them that it's possible, cheering them on, even if it's something that you think, oh my God, they're really thinking they can do that. Well, if that's what they think they want to do, then all you have to do is
Let them
support
do
that
it.
dream. That's all it
That's
takes. Let
right.
them believe. And if they really believe
That's right.
it, honestly, I think faith. That's what faith is, believing in something not yet seen, right?
That's
So if you
right.
believe
That's
that,
right.
it's going to happen. The universe will put everything together for you to create that path,
Yes.
to have what you really think and believe you deserve and desire. Simply put,
I agree.
for you specifically, what was the most difficult part about getting to where you are now professionally?
Wow. There have been a lot of challenges. I didn't grow up in the healthiest of family environments. So I actually had to kind of peel myself away from family. And I've spent a lot of my life creating my path alone. And even when I had opportunities to, be involved in larger groups, I always found that I succeeded best when I was alone.
Mhm.
Because I learned how to really take the time to assess my thoughts. And I don't think that's something you can do when you have a whole bunch of people around you, a lot of distractions, and um, a lot of input. Sometimes it just needs to be you and God. That's what I tell folks. It just needs to be you and God. So
And
I've
don't
spent
take
a
nobody.
lot of time. I spent a lot of time, just trying to understand my thoughts, get deeper into my thoughts, and really plan my life and really plan my career. And even my husband will tell you sometimes, he's like, hey, are you here? I'm like, yes, I'm here. I'm just thinking. So sometimes that could be a challenge, like bringing people in. So I think those are things that I still work on now because I constantly need that time to reevaluate, rethink, reassess. And that could be hard on people who are close to you.
Right, right. Is there anything specific that you're doing to continue to crack the glass ceilings? Because, honey, you are cracking every glass ceiling. Okay. So tell us, what are you doing specifically to continue to crack the glass ceiling?
So I'm always working. I'm always working on something. And I tell people it's so important to work on things that are bigger than you so that other people benefit. So I'm always looking for ways to help in the plastic surgery field. I'm always looking for ways to help as an entrepreneur. I do simple things to help, whether it's, volunteering at my kids' school, helping them come up with ideas that will help them think bigger. I do things to help my colleagues. A lot of people call me the connector because I love connecting people, whether it's a physician who's looking for an opportunity, across the country, or bringing girls together to have a good night out. I'm always trying to connect people and thinking about the larger good.
Good. That's awesome. What are your strengths that you believe? Let me ask you this. What strengths do you believe your
Okay.
identity and experiences bring to your professional and personal life?
Honesty. I think honesty and truth are my biggest strengths. Sometimes I think they're also my weakness.
Well,
You know,
tell us how so.
I'm extremely passionate about integrity. I think it's
Hmm.
important that you are who you say you are. And if I am a physician, I'm not just playing the role of someone who cares. I am someone who cares. You know, I believe in medicine. That's why I'm in medicine. I want things to work. And I'm constantly making sure that the talk and the walk match. I'm also a Christian, so I want to make sure that I am who I say I am. So for me to be a Christian who doesn't read my Bible doesn't make sense, or a Christian who doesn't go to church doesn't make sense, you know? So to me, it's really important that I function in integrity, and it just requires constant assessment of self so that you are who you say you are.
True.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Jermaine Dolly, Mr. Hello Dolly himself, and guess what? You're tuned in to Tea and Worship with my homies, Mignon and Corey. Keep it locked, y'all.
Hey y'all, it's Candy West, and you're watching Tea and Worship with Mignon and Corey.
It's your boy James Fortune, and you are watching my favorite news show, Tea and Worship, with my sis Mignon and Corey.
Meet the scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Well, look, you might not be popular, but my favorite character is Celestial because
One of the quotes that I wrote down in the book that kind of stood out to me was, "Love is the enemy of sound judgment."
She seemed like a very needy woman. And I can't even respect Andre, because how do you prey on your friend's wife while he's incarcerated? Like, you know, I just can't get with that. And maybe I got too invested in the book, you know.
What do you consider are the most important things that you've learned over the course of your career?
Gosh, so in terms of medicine, I really think that politics in medicine is its own entity that everyone should understand and learn. There's truly a business of medicine. There's the politics of medicine, and a lot of the politics affect the business and affect the practice of medicine. And you have to be wise and understanding, and you also have to see what role you play and how you can, use your role and your position to help, or how your position can mean nothing if you don't truly understand your position.
Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of people go into medicine thinking that they're going to make a lot of money, they're going to be living a lavish life, and it's so not what a lot of people think. You can't go into medicine thinking that this is what it's going to turn out to be. You're going to be very, very disappointed. And quite frankly, you're going to be hurt. You may be burnt out a lot easier, a lot sooner, because it's a very demanding career. And you really have to do it if you have compassion, you want to help people, you want to make an impact, not because of the money, because there's not a lot of money in medicine, like what people think, right? It's It's not
You know, you're
what
right.
people think it
You're
is.
right on so many levels. You know, medicine is definitely, you know, someone told me once that medicine is a jealous lover. And when they said that to me, I was just like, you know, but
What
it's
do you
true. If you
mean?
think about it, medicine is a jealous lover. So medicine will treat you great, but will take you away from so much, so
Oh
many things,
yeah.
your family, sometimes your passion, you know, your gifts. There's so much that it'll take away. And you kind of have to understand and know and try to figure out how to turn medicine from being a jealous lover to really being a spouse. You know, that way you don't have to worry and you don't have to compete. You don't have to have different parts of your life competing. But it's true. Medicine truly is a jealous lover.
That is such an awesome analogy. I never thought about it like that. But now, because it's a struggle having to balance it, right? Like you're a woman, you're a
Yes.
Black woman, you're in a male dominated
Mhm.
field. There are so much
Mhm.
stacked against you. You're having to push through so much things that other people of other ethnicities and backgrounds don't have to go through. And then on top of it, the
Mhm.
demand of it. If you want to have girlfriends, you want to hang out, you're trying to balance family life and professional life. It's a lot. It's very demanding.
It is
So
a
I
lot.
always tell people
One thing
before you
too
go into
that
medicine, make sure this is what you truly want to do.
absolutely. I'm sorry I interrupted you, but yes,
No,
you're
no, go
absolutely
ahead.
right. You do have to make sure that this is really what you want, that you're interested in medicine for the right reason. And the right reason is
Mhm.
because you love people and you love to care for people. That's it. That's all you need.
That's
It
all.
doesn't have to be a love for science. It doesn't have to be, you know, a love for operating. Once you have a love for people and a love for helping people, you'll find your place in medicine. You'll find what really, you know, tickles you and what really makes you happy. You know, when I walked into the OR, I was like, wow, this is the best place in the world. And I absolutely loved it. And every time I walked the floors, I just couldn't wait to get to the OR. You know,
Yeah.
to have the opportunity now to operate, do procedures in my office, it just brings me so much joy. I absolutely love and enjoy what I do. And so it makes every part of medicine so special for me. So it's important to truly find your area. Sometimes when I hear people talking about burnout, I think it's because they're in the wrong area of medicine, or in life. When people are talking about, you know, they hate their jobs or this, it's because they're in the wrong job. You know, if you get to the point where you're burnt out with your marriage, it's because you married the wrong man. You know, like these things happen because it might not be where you're supposed to be. And part of the problem is that we make these decisions when we're so young. And the person you were at 20 is not the person you're going to be at 25, and is not the person you're going to be at 30. And one of the things that I believe that I did that helped me a lot is I knew who I was before medical school. I knew who I was before high school. I was very comfortable in my skin, to the point where, you know, people were just like, why are you so comfortable and confident? And I'm just like, I don't know. I think I'm supposed to be. And I was
Right.
supposed to be. But because so many people aren't, you know, when they see that, it kind of surprises them. And it
It's
also
intimidating.
causes you to question yourself sometimes.
Yeah. It could be intimidating for a lot of people because they
Yes,
don't recognize what it is. And yeah, they don't recognize what it is. And they think that you're too confident, or you think you're better than anybody else, or they say things like that.
Mhm.
And you're like, wait, I'm just being me. I'm not, it's
Correct.
just, I know who I am. I know what I want, and I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to say what I need
Correct.
to
And if
say. And
I were a
nothing is
man, it would be okay.
right. Just like those examples I said
Mhm.
earlier, right? Like they will
Mhm.
call you
Mhm.
aggressive, but they'll call him a go-getter. That's what
That's
they do.
right.
What do you think are the biggest challenges for the generation of women that are coming behind you?
So there are always going to be the, you know, political stuff, the changes in medicine, especially with insurance. I think those are going to be huge challenges. I do think that the women that are coming up have an opportunity to truly build something amazing because we're more connected now than we've ever been. people reach out to me from all over the country, and it's all because of social media and their accessibility. You know, it's so easy to find people. When I was a med student, it was extremely hard to find people that I wanted to be like. I remember I heard about this gentleman at my med school, and I looked him up, found him in Indianapolis, drove and spent a week and a half at his house with his family and shadowed him. And he was like, this is unheard of, you know? It wasn't a rotation. I did it on my free time. You know, I was like eating eggs and stuff with his family. And they're like, who is this girl? But it played such a huge role in helping me, you know, pick my path. And I did that all on my own without, you know, a Facebook group that had mentors, you know, without access to a whole bunch of stuff. So I really think that women who are coming up can be greater than great. And when I speak to people, I tell them, I'm rooting for you and I want you to be better than me because you have so much more resources. And one of your resources is me.
Right, and that's the beauty of social media. I mean, there's goods and bad with social media, but I choose to always look at the good in everything. And I think that's the beauty of
Yes.
social media. You can access hundreds of thousands of people from the comfort of
Yes.
your home, and you can have that impact. And I love it. I love that you can show the little
Yes.
girls that they can be anything they want to be because they see you living that life.
That's
And without
right.
social media, it would be impossible to see that many Black doctors. Because like
You're
we talked
right.
about earlier, a lot of places don't even have one or two or three. We're in Atlanta, that's unusual. We always say Atlanta's unusual, it's different. You know, our children are very lucky to be able to see that many Black professionals. But social media has that power to where you can use it in a positive way to your advantage and to help others too. So
Yes.
I love that about it. Let's talk a little bit about the men. What do you think that men
Okay.
can do to become better allies and supporters for women who are in leadership or those who strive to attain leadership roles? Because a lot of men are already in leadership roles. So how can they become better allies to us?
So I think that's a great question. There's so much that men can do. And one of them is really befriending Black women, especially. I think that it's very common for men in leadership, especially white men in leadership, to help women that they can relate to, women who look like their wives, women who look like their daughters. But when it comes to minority women, I think that lack of intimacy in terms of comfort causes them to be a little hesitant. So I think the way to actually break some of those barriers is to start with friendships. Once you have a friend and you have someone you can talk to about anything, really, it's easy to invite them to the table for other things. So I think the answer to almost anything is friendship.
I like that. I do. Because I think about that sometimes. It's so many men at the top, and nothing can change unless they give other people that don't necessarily look like them an opportunity. Give them a chance.
You're
They could be
absolutely right.
great. You know, we could be great at what we do, even better than the men. Because, like you said, as a woman, you're gonna bring a little extra touch that a man cannot bring. So that can make a huge difference to a company. But as a female doctor, who's also an entrepreneur because you have your own practice and you do so many other things
That's
and you
right.
do them great. What would be your top three
Thank you.
pieces of advice to a woman who's looking to start her own company or her own business initiative or her own practice?
So the first advice that I always give everyone is to really know yourself, know who you are, know how you function, know what you like, know what you don't like, and to really be comfortable with that. And sometimes that's hard. It requires a lot of self-work, but once the work is done, it sets you up for success. The second thing I would say is be patient and be kind. You know, sometimes you want something now and you don't want to wait and you don't understand why you should wait. You feel like you've done all the right things, but sometimes it's not about your time, you know, and all things have to come together to work for everyone, not just you. So you always have to be patient. And when you're being patient, don't get frustrated. Just be kind. I tell people all the time, when things don't work out for me, I don't get upset about it. I just know that better is coming. So if I miss an opportunity, it's because that opportunity was great, but a greater opportunity is coming. If I miss, a case, if a patient doesn't pick me and picks another plastic surgeon, I'm okay with missing that case because the next opportunity that's coming is going to be greater. It's going to be a better case, et cetera, et cetera. So I always think that, better is coming. And figure out what love is for you. A lot of people don't truly understand love. I've spent a lot of time thinking about love, reading about love, and trying to make sure that my definition and understanding of love is consistent with what I think love is. And I tell people all the time, figure out what love means to you. For some people, love is companionship. For some people, love is being alone. For some people, love is having children. For some people, it's, helping people from afar. It's helping people from up close. But you got to figure out what love is for you. And once you figure it out, you have to make sure that your actions are consistent with love. No matter what's happening, you're thinking about how overall love is being shown, love is being received, and you are loving yourself and others as you want to be loved.
That's so great. I love that. You inspire me so much. So for the viewers, three things.
Sweet.
The best three pieces of, you already know that. The best three top pieces of advice from Dr. Val. Know yourself. Super important. Be patient. Be patient. Be patient. I hear that all the time from my father-in-law. And then the third, know what love means to you. That was a great one.
Yes.
That you actually taught me just now. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here with us today. I know you have a lot of cases.
Thank you for having me.
That means a lot to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm sure the viewers are going to learn a lot from this. Thanks again.
Well, Dr. Ava, I want to thank you for having me on. Like always, you look beautiful today and every day. And you inspired me too. I think it's really important that we see each other, and I'm glad that you see me, and I want you to know that I see you. I see how hard you're working. I see you as a mom. I see you as an entrepreneur. I see everything that you're doing, and I'm so proud of you. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. You inspire me so much as well. Despite the progress that's been made for women in the workplace in recent years, there's still a very, very strong likelihood that your boss is a man. But women are showing up and showing out. After years of pushing their way into places they've never been, women are proving again and again that they deserve a seat at the table. Women are breaking all the stereotypes and forging new ways of work. Women have begun to take things many consider negative about their gender in the workplace and turn them into positives. The lack of women in male-dominated and high-paying industries such as STEM, like science, technology, engineering, or math, is often cited as a critical factor behind the gender gap. Even though girls perform as well as boys in math and science standardized tests at school, fewer women consider a professional career in these fields. Women seem to face different hurdles that have little to do with their abilities. Gender stereotypes are one of them. We should be critical of the way we are thought to expect men and women to behave based on their gender alone. We live in a more progressive time compared to the past when it comes to some issues regarding gender. But we need to remember that gendered expectations are still ingrained in our culture, and it is so subtle sometimes that we hardly even notice it. There are some really simple ways we can help stop its influence, such as creating safe spaces for women to know that their voices matter. It's not easy to challenge stereotypes, but society doesn't change if we don't start changing ourselves first. By continuing to work together and breaking all the stereotypes, the sky is the limit for women in business. To our wonderful viewers, thank you for taking the time to watch the show, and thank you so much for your support. We all have to start somewhere, and viewers like you are who make it possible. You can follow me on Instagram at dr.evab or sign up for my blog and newsletter through my website, drevabtoday.com. See you next time.
every discipline starts with creating a habit. Find a plan that works for you. I know you can put a reminder in your phone, call so-and-so in 30 days. You can't use the excuse that, oh, I'm an introvert or I'm an extrovert. You know, stuff people like to say. Nah, if you're not outgoing, right, you better get going, because that's the only way networking works.